awarded Best Weathercast by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association. This is 6 News WOWT, 5 at 4.
And we begin with a live look out at downtown Omaha, the Luminarium and the Missouri River, using our CityCam network. Sunny and warm, great weather for Friday night football or whatever other activities you have outside this weekend.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller joins us now with the first look at your 6 first alert forecast. Emily, it looks like a beautiful day out there, my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic for anything you have going outdoors. We have plenty of sunshine, a little less haze in the air. You can really see some improvements out across the metro and very comfortable temperatures. We're hanging out in the mid-80s right now. 84 degrees out at Epley, 83 in Fremont, Council Bluffs sitting at 82. Generally pretty light winds as you step outside, so really no complaints for your Friday night. Air quality sitting at moderate, so still a little smoke and haze in the air, but we have made some big improvements compared to where we were earlier this week. So Friday night football all in the clear for those plans outdoors. We'll be hanging out in the mid-80s through about 6 o'clock with plenty of sunshine. A dip into the 70s by the time we hit about 7. And looking ahead to the weekend, if you're trying to make those plans for the outdoors, you will be planning around rain. Saturday looks like the slightly better day to be outside. Sunday, a little bit more rain to look ahead to. I'll help you plan around that chance coming up in my full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Em. Thank you. Meantime, we do have a major update today from the Nebraska Supreme Court. Convicted killer Anthony Garcia will not get a new trial, Dave.
No, Garcia had claimed a variety of reasons, including ineffective counsel. The Nebraska Supreme Court today issuing a ruling rejecting those arguments. With those details, we check in with our Johan Marin, who's live in studio. Johan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave and Jacqueline. If you've been around Omaha for a while, you'd know the name Anthony Garcia. He was kicked out of the Crane University Pathology years before he sought a revenge killing of 4 people 5 years apart. These images are so memorable here as I scroll through them. During his court appearance in 2018, he barely talked and moved, and his behavior catch so much attention. In his appeal to the state Supreme Court, Garcia noted 130 alleged errors that were made during his trial, while also claiming that his counsel was ineffective when he stopped communicating with them. He described he was having diminished capacity. Today's ruling summed up Garcia's appeal, with the court affirming Garcia's convictions and sentences. Reporting live in the studio, Johan Marin, 6 News.
All right, thanks for that report, Johan. Meantime, Omaha police make an arrest in the shooting that put a man in the hospital this week. We covered this story as breaking news on Tuesday. The scene, 20th and Vinton. Take a look at your screen here. This is Christopher Billy. He's 35 years old, booked into jail on a long list of charges, including first-degree assault and use of a weapon, as well as gun and drug charges and possession of a weapon by a prohibited person. Police say he shot a man who was treated at the hospital. He is expected to be all right, so good news there. 6 News is on your side. Some people living in Northwest Omaha say the traffic around the intersection is bad. So bad, Dave, that a lot of times vehicles are at a standstill there.
It's a headache, no doubt. 6 News' Joe Harris looked into it and tells us if any solution is in sight.
In the shadows of Omaha Westview High School at 56th and Ida, it's bumper-to-bumper traffic during the early morning rush.
A lot of times I'm getting right onto Ida just to get to a standstill.
And she says 156th is no better.
Even though I work like near 84th and Dodge, I have to leave like over 45 minutes early to get there to work.
People say it's been like this for more than a year.
5-10 minutes is sitting at the corner waiting for traffic.
They say because vehicles get so backed up, if you're trying to turn left onto either 156th or Ida from a side street, good luck. Some drivers have given up on that and instead go through residential roads.
I'd have to drive through the neighborhood, get out on 144th Street, and then I can just head straight south through the light, as opposed to trying to get into this traffic on Ida, which is horrendous.
So how long will it be like this? And when will they widen this section of 156th Street to 2 lanes in each direction? The Douglas County Engineer's Office says that could be quite a few years from now, because it has several other projects that are priority.
One of those is a $4 million intersection improvement effort on 168th and State.
There are multiple fatalities out there. It was called the State Street Jump, and young drivers would go out there and test their skills, and some of them didn't make it.
Dan Kudelek says that one will go into next year, but that when it's finished, it should relieve the volume of traffic in the 156th and Ida area. Other major projects over the next few years in this part of the county include improvements at 168th and Ida and 156th and State. Kudelek says a lot of what's on his office's plate is development driven. And like with a lot of things, funds influence when they work on roads.
It's a struggle to come up with enough money to keep up with the traffic. We have a plan, a 6-year plan that we put together to try to anticipate some of these things, but it's financial issues that usually control the timing of it.
He doesn't have an estimate on how much widening this stretch of 156th Street would cost, but that it will be several years before it happens, unless some federal funds come in. On your side, Joe Harris, 6 News.
Joe, thank you. The Douglas County Engineer's Office says the county is scheduled to do a traffic study at the intersection of 156th and Ida starting next week. That will help them decide whether or not to make some traffic signal modifications to hopefully help move more cars through that intersection.
Following a judge's order, we're getting the first look today at a report by the grand jury that investigated former President Trump's involvement in trying to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. And there are some surprising revelations. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest for us from Washington.
In Georgia today, a previously secret report was released showing that a special grand jury in Fulton County recommended indicting 21 additional people in the state election interference case against former President Trump and his already 18 co-defendants. Among those 21 new names that the district attorney chose not to charge, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, a Trump ally.
I voted to certify the election. To suggest I'm part of some grand scheme to overturn the election makes no sense.
Georgia's Republican Secretary of State has said that Senator Graham suggested the secretary had the authority to reject certain absentee ballots, making him feel pressured. Senator Graham today refuting that, insisting he simply wanted clarity about the state's process before voting to certify the election.
I asked him questions about the mail-in voting process. I never asked him to set aside ballots or anything else.
The newly revealed names come after a judge ordered the release of a report summarizing the findings of the special grand jury that investigated Mr. Trump and his allies' efforts to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. Also named but never charged, former Georgia Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler.
The grand jury makes decisions perhaps about who they can indict, who they believe that there is sufficient evidence for, and then it's really up to the prosecutor to exercise for discretion to make a decision as to who they should indict.
Former President Trump on social media blasting the grand jury report, saying, quote, they wanted to indict anybody who happened to be breathing at the time. He denies any wrongdoing.
Legal experts say that prosecutors may have decided there wasn't enough evidence to ultimately indict these 21 people we're learning about today, or there could be things like the speech and debate clause that protects members of Congress. It's also possible that some of them are now cooperating with the investigation. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
6 News is on your side. Our fall foliage might not be quite so colorful this year.
This is a big bummer, but we're here to find out why. Meteorologist Jade Steffens joins us now. Hey, Jade.
Hey, Jacqueline. Yes, the official start of fall is still a few weeks away, but some trees in the Omaha area are already starting to show their colors. But this is pretty early. The average peak fall foliage in Nebraska and Iowa isn't until late October, with minimal foliage typically starting in late September. So according to local experts, leaves are turning early because of the years-long drought that we're currently in. I talked to horticulturist Scott Evans to find out how the drought has caused signs of early color expression in trees.
We're starting to see a premature leaf drop right now. We are seeing cumulative damage. When we start combining all that stress from over the winter, a dry spring, that just starts to accumulate, and trees will reflect this a lot of times by early leaf drop, because they just don't have the resources to keep those leaves on the tree.
So looking at the current drought monitor, it's pretty clear why the trees might be having a hard time. The stress from drought can have long-term effects and can even lead to the tree dying. But Evans did tell me there are ways to prevent this from happening. The solution is simple. Just make sure they're getting enough water. The key is to not only water your trees, but to make sure the water is reaching about 10 to 12 inches into the soil, which takes about 1 to 2 hours of watering. Most sprinkler systems only reach a few inches into the soil and often don't reach deep enough to benefit the trees. So it's too early to tell exactly how much the drought will affect the brightness and color of the leaves as we move into the coming months, but the color is also dependent on other things such as cool nights and lots of sunshine as well. So we'll be watching for those leaves to change, but for right now, just make sure those trees are getting enough water.
Yeah, the drought hurting us more than some of us even thought. Who knew, right?
All right, true.
Jade, thank you for that report. Still ahead here on Live at 4, tracking that huge hurricane out in the Atlantic that is churning away and intensifying.
Plus, we'll show you how you can help the family of a young boy. This little guy needs help from a service dog.
And we've got some new details to report in several overnight fires. Those stories when we come back. This is 6 News Live at 4.
Managing your diabetes can feel like a full-time job. The MiniMed 780G is the only system with meal detection technology that adjusts and corrects sugars every 5 minutes, so you can put your worries to rest.
Ever wonder if seeing your glucose numbers is really making your life easier? At Medtronic, we think your CGM should do more. Knowing your numbers is great, but what if those numbers could help tell you how much insulin you need? Or better yet, power a system that delivers the insulin for you and adjusts in real time based on your needs. Our CGM powers systems that do more of the work for you. We believe it should work hard, so you don't have to. It's time you ask more of your diabetes technology.
Managing your diabetes can feel like a full-time job. The MiniMed 780G is the only system with meal detection technology that adjusts and corrects sugars every 5 minutes, so you can put your worries to rest.
Omaha fire investigators are working to determine what started the fire that damaged a house in North Omaha.
Fire crews were called to 30th and Franklin just after midnight. While there, they encountered smoke on approach and then got to work knocking down that fire. Thankfully, no one was home at the time and no one was injured. Damage is estimated at $10,000.
And investigators are looking into what started the fire that destroyed a vacant house on Nicholas Street at Northwest Radial Highway. Fire crews were called out just before 11 last night and had smoke and flames on approach. Again, the house here, a total loss. The good news is no one was hurt.
Omaha police say speed and a lack of seatbelts combined in the crash that killed a man overnight. The crash just before 1 in the morning. Police say a black 2008 Mercedes was speeding eastbound on L Street when the driver lost control. The vehicle hit a guardrail, near 77th Street and then came to rest in a rental car lot. The driver, identified as Luke Boisseray, was pronounced deceased at the scene. He was 42 years old. Police say alcohol is also being investigated as a factor in this crash.
An Omaha couple says they'll do whatever it takes to help their son get ahead in life. A service dog is just one idea, but that comes with a very hefty price tag. 6 News is on your side. Taylor Johnson now with how they're hoping to make it happen.
Doctors once said Memphis Keck would never walk, but now, at 5 years old,
Yay! You are.
Memphis was born with several medical challenges.
He had like grade 3 and grade 4 brain bleeds, and he has no corpus callosum, so like his brain doesn't like talk to each other. So they were like, don't expect much. You probably won't walk. You probably won't talk.
Instead, he's singing.
La 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 la.
And dancing his way through life. When Memphis was a baby, he and his sister Serenity were put in foster care.
So when he came to us, he was like 7 months old and only weighed like 8 pounds. So like the home that like took him after he got out of the NICU, DCF had to actually remove him and his sister because of like medical neglect. And then they went to like 5 other foster homes.
Later, they were placed with the Kecks, who became their forever family.
At that point, they were like going towards adoption, and we were like, like we'll help you until, they get an adoptive home. But then they came to us and we're like, they're not going to a different home.
The Kecks say they want Memphis to live as freely as possible, so their doctor advised getting a service dog.
The scariest thing is like what's going to happen like when we're gone. I hate thinking about that. So like teaching him more independence, like this dog would help that.
The Kecks say their quest of getting Memphis a service dog has come with its share of challenges, like potential waits up to 3 years just to start the process. The family is now working with California-based Doggy Do Good, which trains service animals. They say since COVID, demand for service dogs has been on the rise.
There's definitely been an increase especially after the pandemic. I think a lot of people have PTSD.
Another barrier, the price tag.
Pricing for a service dog can really vary anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000. I think a lot of people don't realize the cost and all of the training that really goes into a service dog.
With that in mind, the Kecks are looking to raise around $23,000.
Who is that?
This banner in their front yard with Memphis's smiling face is one of the ways they hope to get the community to help.
Once they get like 8K, the dog can start training. So that's like our big goal.
The Kecks have faith they'll reach their goals just like Memphis, their miracle child.
It feels like a really big mountain, but I don't think, that's his job. He climbs mountains. So.
On your side in Bennington, Taylor Johnson, 6 News.
Certainly hoping the family gets what they need. If you would like to donate for Memphis's service dog, there are several ways to do it. Plenty more information can be found over at WOWT.com.
A nice start to the weekend, but chances of rain. Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller has our full forecast when we come back.
Plus, 6 News is on your side, looking into what those tiny bugs are that are biting all of us when we head outside.
You can't stop the clock. Your body is going to age.
And 6 News is on your side with expert advice on healthy aging. But first, local stocks.
Your 6 First Alert forecast is sponsored by A1 United Heating, Air, and Electrical.
In this season and every season, there's only one A1 United. A1 United Heating, Air, and Electrical. Call to schedule your appointment today.
Plenty of sunshine and overall pleasant conditions as you're getting your weekend started. Gorgeous for your Friday night plans, and good news, the haze starting to thin out finally. Air quality really improving out there tonight. We have clear skies on our satellite and radar picture, but changes on the way. Here's our next cold front. This is going to be making some impacts through the weekend into the start of next week, bringing with it some moisture behind that front, as well as a cool down that's going to linger through most of next week. So let's time this out on the hour-by-hour forecast. This cold front here kind of stalls out for the next couple of days. So through the night tonight into Saturday, it's not going to move much. Ahead of that front, we might see a couple of isolated showers, maybe a weak thunderstorm or two as we move through Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. Incredibly hit or miss chances through the day tomorrow, a little bit on the breezy side, but overall, pretty pleasant day for your outdoor plans. Keep that chance for a stray shower in mind, but it really doesn't look like there's much moisture to work with there tomorrow. Now that changes on Sunday as this cold front gets ready to drop through. It's going to make a slow trek through the entire day. That comes along with some increasing moisture behind that front, and we'll see a better chance for showers and thunderstorms by Sunday afternoon. Chances will continue through the evening and perhaps could linger into Monday morning. So we'll be looking out for a little bit more activity and hopefully a nice soaking rain for some. This will come with a cool down, so enjoy the 80s while we have them. We'll be reaching for a high of 85 tomorrow around the metro, 85 for Wahoo, Lincoln at 88, 85 in Harlan, 86 for Red Oak, and check out the change on Sunday. You can see the impacts that cold front will be making through the day. We'll be hanging out in the low 70s out to the northwest of the metro. Looks like Omaha still aiming for a high of about 80. Really depends on the speed of that cold front, and then down to the southeast, a little bit warmer, reaching for low to mid 80s where that front will be last to push through. By the time Monday gets here, everyone will feel the effects of that cold front. Will be breezy behind it as well. Temperatures fall into the 70s, and we're getting ready for a long stretch of fall weather. You can plan on high temperatures in the 70s through next week. And check out some of these morning lows. 48 degrees out the door Wednesday morning. So we do have a couple of really chilly starts on the way. We're planning on making that climb back into the 80s by next weekend. Looks like a really nice forecast for that first Husker home game on Saturday. You can stay on top of the forecast by downloading our 6 First Alert weather app. You can find that free in the App Store. A little bit of everything on that 10-day forecast. We have some 80s and a lot of fall weather as well.
See a 48 there on Wednesday morning. That's going to feel cool.
That's going to be chilly, something we're not used to quite yet.
No, not at all. All right, Emily, thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, nearly 56 million Americans are 65 and older, and this is according to the National Council on Aging. While staying healthy is critical to independence and a good quality of life, many seniors struggle with everyday challenges. 6 News is on your side with 5 tips to promote health as we get older in honor of Healthy Aging Month.
A long life is a blessing and sometimes a curse.
You can't stop the clock. Your body is going to age.
Dr. Kenneth Concilia with Cleveland Clinic says as the years go by, the changing body allows for more health problems. But there are healthy ways to age. His first tip, get daily exercise. Commit to being active every day, but choose to do something you enjoy.
Commitments to exercise or promises to yourself only become a habit if it's something that you're going to be able to do, that you're going to love doing.
Number 2, eat a healthy diet with lots of fruits and veggies. Limiting alcohol, processed foods, and red meats is key. Number 3, Concilia says it's also critical to continue learning.
Reading books, learning new things, learning an instrument, singing, learning a new language, learning a new hobby. These things are all great exercises for your brain.
This can also help with number 4, staying social, another boost for your brain. Finally, Concilia says to focus on getting those Z's.
Making sure that we're not watching the TV as we're falling asleep, or that we're trying to get at least 6 to 7 hours of good quality sleep at night, undisturbed. That's very important for your brain health and for your overall physiology.
The doctor says it's also important for seniors to keep good relationships with their primary care physician and do routine checkups and screenings to catch any health issues early. So some good advice there.
Always a good idea. One of Nebraska's county's most wanted appearing in court. Those details in just a few minutes.
But first, 6 News is on your side, finding out what those tiny bugs are that are biting all of us. I know, right? When we're outside, gross stuff ahead. This is 6 News Live at 4.
Nursing and healthcare degrees are in demand more than ever to meet current job growth. Midway offers Central Kentucky's most affordable tuition rates, and our accelerated program puts your degree within reach. Apply at midway.edu. With more than 20 career-focused degree choices and the most affordable tuition rates in Central Kentucky, Midway University puts your degree within reach. Save time, save money, advance your career. Apply today at midway.edu.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight.
Nursing and healthcare degrees are in demand more than ever to meet current job growth. Midway offers Central Kentucky's most affordable tuition rates, and our accelerated program puts your degree within reach. Apply at midway.edu. With more than 20 career-focused degree choices and the most affordable tuition rates in Central Kentucky, Midway University puts your degree within reach. Save time, save money, advance your career. Apply today at midway.edu.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go,
You can get in true one-coat coverage. Right now, a gallon of flat is
Welcome back. 6 News is on your side with a warning about late summer and early fall bugs. The heat wave finally broken with the fall-like temperatures in the air, especially at night. Yeah, don't look over there.
No, more and more people are outdoors right now with this great weather. But as 6 News reporter Craig Negrelli tells us, certain bugs are biting and they are leaving a painful mark.
From a deck that backs to woods to walking at places like Lake Zarinsky or Elmwood Park, enjoying the outdoors is pretty much a fall pastime here in Omaha. But that relaxation can quickly turn to misery.
They were itchy. Yeah, definitely itchy. Maybe slightly painful.
Mary Collier of West Omaha says her 7-year-old recently got bitten pretty badly.
She is outside quite a bit at our home, and just in the last week or so, she had quite a few small welts on her neck and shoulders. It didn't really go past her upper body.
A few other people out in West Omaha told me they too have been bitten repeatedly, just sitting outside enjoying a cool breeze. So what could be the culprit? It might be something called an oak leaf itch mite. Entomologist Dr. Jody Green with the Nebraska Extension showed me research and an article she has written on oak mites. To clarify, she says they are arachnids, not insects, closely related to ticks. There are well-documented outbreaks in the Midwest dating back to 2004. Oak trees are known to host the small pests. She says they are prevalent in Kansas, and oak trees are everywhere here in Nebraska.
What they're experiencing does sound like it could be oak itch mites. It's just really hard to confirm. They normally will blow or fall out of trees.
Here are the signs an oak mite likely has bitten you. They feed on skin tissue, cause red welts with a blister. It can take between 10 to 16 hours for your skin to react to the bite.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot to do to prevent them, because if you're outside enjoying, the weather and walking under trees or in parks or on your backyard or in the pumpkin patch, you may fall victim to one of these bites.
And there's another nuisance to look out for here in Nebraska this fall. Pirate bugs.
You'll find these little black bugs that are tiny, but they've got a really big bite and it hurts.
And those particular pests emerge during harvest season. Green says insect repellents are not effective against them, so your best bet is to try to keep your skin covered. On your side, Craig DeGrelli, 6 News.
All right, Craig, thank you. Experts say those bugs will disappear when we have our first hard freeze of the year here in Nebraska.
Bond is set at $75,000 for a man from Lincoln facing charges for a high-speed pursuit. This update from the Cassgram. We've been following the story of Tyler Cann. He was Cass County, Nebraska Sheriff's Office's most wanted list. He was on that list and was booked into jail on Thursday for felony flight to avoid arrest and driving under license revocation. He's 33 years old and was identified by deputies as the man driving a black Chevy Trailblazer in a pursuit that reached speeds of up to 110 miles per hour. That chase in July of last year. Cann was identified by his license plate number and previous booking photos from Lincoln Police.
6 News is on your side today. The White House announcing the 988 crisis line will now include American Sign Language services. People who are deaf or hard of hearing can video chat with an interpreter for mental health services. The 988 service launched last year and is for anyone struggling with mental health crisis to get free, confidential help. There are also line extensions for Spanish speakers, veterans, and LGBTQ people. White House Veterans Policy expert Terry Tanlian says adding ASL is a part of the larger goal here of making mental health services accessible for everyone.
We're trying to make these services more accessible so that they will have individuals trained in ASL who can work with them in their time of crisis, but also refer them to the services that are likely going to include providers who are equipped to also meet their special and unique needs.
This announcement comes just before World Suicide Prevention Day, which is September 10th, this Sunday. Since opening in July 2022, there have been more than 5 million calls to 988.
All right, returning to weather now. Here's Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller. She's keeping an eye on what's coming our way, the next big thing. Hey, Em.
Hey, we're looking ahead to a taste of fall weather moving in today, managing to warm into the mid-80s, but take a look at this temperature swing as we move into next Tuesday, aiming for a high of 73. It's going to be one of our coolest days, and our overnight lows some nights down into the 40s. This is where that cool air is right now. It's hanging out in Canada, and that's going to drop through as we move into the weekend. So starting to feel some change for some as soon as Sunday, and we really feel it by the work week. This cooler air is going to be hanging around all of next week. High temperatures down into the 70s, overnight lows into the 50s, and at times 40s. We'll take a look at just how cool it's going to get coming up in just a little bit. Guys.
Yeah, a lot of people looking forward to that, though. Some hanging on to summer still.
Yeah.
All right, Emily, thanks. Rescuers say they are almost ready to begin the process of freeing an ill American caver, Mark Dickey. He's been suffering from gastrointestinal bleeding, and he was actually stuck for over 5 days, now over 3,000 feet underground in Turkey.
Yeah, this really is an incredible story, Dave. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from outside the cave's entrance.
Yeah, so I'm here in southern Turkey, right at the mouth of the Morka Cave, and this is where that American explorer, Mark Dickey, has been for the better part of the last week. He's still down there, and we understand that his medical condition has improved considerably. He hasn't had a blood transfusion in the past 2 days. Now, down there with him right now are, we're told, a couple of dozen rescue workers, including 2 doctors. But just getting down and getting back up to bring supplies, or indeed to bring Mr. Dickey eventually out of this cave, is a massive ordeal. Rescue workers have to rappel down and climb up, and this has to happen multiple times a day. But the rescue workers tell me that this is actually the easy part, because once you get below 500 feet, then the real challenge begins. The whole cave becomes a warren of tight corners and very, very small spaces. The rescue workers here are not taking any chances. They're trying to wait until they get an all clear from doctors and until there's enough safety apparatus that has been set up through this extremely difficult cave network that they can bring him out safely. We understand that they're even using explosives, light explosives, to try to clear some of those tight corners and small passageways so they can get him through, perhaps on a stretcher. Once they begin that journey, and we're told it could begin as early as tomorrow morning, it could take days to get him out. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Southern Turkey.
Gosh, I hope they do get him out safely.
Yeah,
My goodness.
we'll see.
Well, what could be a new effort to reduce the penalties for using marijuana? We have those details after the break.
Plus, a scam warning to tell you about when we come back. This is 6 News, live at 4.
We all want the very best for our kids. Their dreams, their health, their future. Nothing is more important. At Children's, we believe every child and family deserves the very best. The best outcomes and experiences, the safest, highest quality pediatric care, and the very best team, all together in an environment of excellence. That's the future of pediatric medicine. Children's Hospital and Medical Center, the very best for kids.
Nursing and healthcare degrees are in demand more than ever to meet current job growth. Midway offers Central Kentucky's most affordable tuition rates, and our accelerated program puts your degree within reach. Apply at midway.edu. With more than 20 career-focused degree choices and the most affordable tuition rates in Central Kentucky, Midway University puts your degree within reach. Save time, save money, advance your career. Apply today at midway.edu.
A partner in your everyday since 1975. Woodhouse. A partner in your everyday since 1975. Woodhouse.
Catch live local streaming TV, free at viewit.com or on the Viewit app. Stream content from your favorite stations here and across the country. Plus, watch exclusive events and original programming all in one place from your favorite device. Keep up to date with what's happening in your community with news, weather, prep sports, and more.
In today's Living Right, here's what you should do to up your workout routine.
Search Viewit in your app store and download for free today.
Nursing and healthcare degrees are in demand more than ever to meet current job growth. Midway offers Central Kentucky's most affordable tuition rates, and our accelerated program puts your degree within reach. Apply at midway.edu. With more than 20 career-focused degree choices and the most affordable tuition rates in Central Kentucky, Midway University puts your degree within reach. Save time, save money, advance your career. Apply today at midway.edu.
Roll-ons, oils, and gummies. See us first for the
6 News is on your side this afternoon with this scam alert. The Cass County, Nebraska Sheriff's Office is warning scammers are pretending to be with their office and claiming you need to pay up or a warrant will be issued for your arrest.
Yeah, this story from the Cass-Gram. The Sheriff's Office says no law enforcement agency will ever demand immediate payment over the phone for any warrant, fine, or bond. The best advice, if you suspect the call is part of an attempted scam, hang up the phone.
Health officials are recommending the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, lower the restrictions around cannabis, a move that would reclassify how harmful the drug is compared to others.
Our DC Bureau's Ashanti Ford has the story now from Capitol Hill.
The Health and Human Services Department is asking the Drug Enforcement Administration to reconsider how marijuana is classified, adding that the DEA needs to ease up on cannabis restrictions. Currently, cannabis is ranked among the same risk factor as heroin, LSD, and ecstasy.
What we've created is a very significant amount of conflict between the federal government's position on marijuana and cannabis and where the states have evolved and developed.
David Mangone is pro-marijuana, and as the director of policy for the Cannabis National Roundtable, he's done his research on the history behind the plan.
There is a group of senators and congressmen called the Schaefer Commission. This commission actually recommended that cannabis shouldn't be classified on any of the drug schedules at all. This recommendation was ultimately ignored by President Nixon and started what really was the modern war on drugs.
Currently, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug, which means it has a high potential of abuse and no medical use. Conviction at the federal level for selling up to a ton of marijuana comes with up to 10 years to life in prison.
Decades of incarceration, particularly of minority individuals. But what you've also seen is the birth of a cannabis industry that lives in a legal gray area.
But it's black and white for Kevin Saby, the president and CEO for Smart Approaches to Marijuana.
Today's marijuana is not your Woodstock weed. It's much more addictive than in the past.
Saby adding that reclassifying cannabis from Schedule I to Schedule III is a slippery slope.
And unless those products are individually approved by the Food and Drug Administration, I don't see how they can become a Schedule III drug.
However, the Biden administration, after a year of review, is asking that the drug be reclassified under the Controlled Substance Act, a move that, if approved, will be one of the biggest changes we've seen in federal drug policy in decades. But it is the DEA that has the final say. In Washington, I'm Ashanti Ford.
All right, coming up, a big black bear gets an even bigger surprise. The incident all caught on camera.
Plus, some of your pictures that made us smile today.
Our next cold front is on the way, and that's not only bringing a cool down, but rain chances through the weekend. We'll take a closer look coming up.
Catch live local streaming TV, free at viewit.com or on the Viewit app. Stream content from your favorite stations here and across the country. Plus, watch exclusive events and original programming all in one place from your favorite device. Keep up to date with what's happening in your community with news, weather, prep sports, and more.
In today's Living Right, here's what you should do to up your workout routine.
Search Viewit in your app store and download for free today.
Ever wonder if seeing your glucose numbers is really making your life easier? At Medtronic, we think your CGM should do more. Knowing your numbers is great, but what if those numbers could help tell you how much insulin you need? Or better yet, power a system that delivers the insulin for you and adjusts in real time based on your needs. Our CGM powers systems that do more of the work for you. We believe it should work hard, so you don't have to. It's time you ask more of your diabetes technology.
Enjoying sunny skies out across the metro. Beautiful start to the weekend. So if your plans are taking you out for your Friday night, really nice evening to be outdoors. We're hanging out in the 80s for most, and this is going to be one of our last days in the 80s for a little while. Right now, sitting at 84 degrees in Omaha, 84 around Norfolk, 82 in Denison, 84 around Red Oak. Light winds, less haze compared to the last couple of days. So conditions really cooperating for anything that you have going outside. Great night for high school football. Be hanging out in the mid 80s all the way through about 6 o'clock. By 7, dropping back to about 83, and by 8, sitting in the 70s with clear skies continuing through the night. But changes are on the way. This cold front here going to bring in some impacts through the weekend. However, it's going to stay just off to our north tonight and into the day tomorrow. Makes very little progress south as we move into your Saturday. However, ahead of that front, we could see a couple of isolated showers, mainly during the first half of Saturday. Perhaps a little something that pops back up into the evening, but there's not a ton of moisture to work with locally as we get into the start of the weekend. That's going to change on Sunday as this front starts to slide through. That's going to bring in some moisture behind that front, a drop in temperatures as well, and this is kind of slicing the viewing area in half as we move through Sunday afternoon. So for some, it's already going to be the start of the 70s as we get into the tail end of the weekend. That cooler air starts to spill in by the mid-afternoon. Behind it, increasing rain chances, showers, maybe some thunderstorms that bring in some heavy downpours. This will continue through our Sunday evening with rain chances lingering as late as early Monday morning. So we'll be watching that closely. For now, looking ahead to the end of a streak of highs in the 80s. Tomorrow, going to be one of the last days for a lot of us. 85 around the metro, a high of 88 in Lincoln, pretty warm. Reaching for a high of 85 in Harlan, 86 in Red Oak, and take a look at the changes on Sunday. Already starting to see some 70s, low 70s working in out to the northwest of the metro. York could be stuck in the 60s underneath some of that cloud cover, and then down to the southeast, a little warmer with a mix of the low to mid 80s. As we get into Monday, this is where we make that drop into the 70s for the metro, a high of 77. We will be breezy behind our cold front, and by Tuesday, the morning bringing us back down into the 50s. Wednesday morning down into the 40s. Tuesday and Wednesday are coolest days with high of 73. From there, it is a warm up. We're back into the upper 70s by Friday, and 80s making a return in time for next weekend. So some big ups and downs here as we move through the extended outlook. Long stretch of fall weather, though, so if you've been hoping to maybe break out some sweaters, I think next week is the week for you.
Hey,
all right.
And September is normally like the best weather month of the year. Hard to argue when you look at a forecast.
Oh, I love that forecast.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Emily. All right, well, check it out. This made us smile.
Yeah, Angie shared this picture. She tells us her family just found him sitting right there on the doorstep the other night. It looks like a huge toad. Or is the picture just taken really up close and personal?
I know. Either way, great photograph there. We love it.
Yeah, her grandkids have named him Mac and Cheese, or Mac for short. That is clever.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I love toads. Okay, at the other end of the size spectrum, Jim shared this. He tells us this is a female ruby-throated hummingbird. Beautiful. He adds, we're running out of time, though, to enjoy the many birds because they'll soon be headed south for the winter. That's right. So we need to get out there and enjoy them while we still have
Emily's
nice
forecast
weather.
just detailed that. They won't like those morning lows.
Nope, nope.
All right, so what made you smile today? Send us your pictures. Head over to WOWT.com. Look for the Submit a Photo or Video button. It's right there on the right side of your screen.
All right, check this out. Little Amal is a 12-foot-tall puppet, and she represents a 10-year-old Syrian refugee. She launched a tour of 36 cities, kicking off in Boston.
Yeah, Bianca Beltrain shares the emotional reaction to this amazing puppet.
Her name is Little Amal, but she towers over the crowds of people who flock to see her.
Amal represents a 10-year-old Syrian refugee, and the way puppeteers move her face and body invites people to imagine what she would think and feel arriving in a new country.
I think what really resonates the most with me is the spirit of joy and awe and wonder she brings wherever she goes.
Ronnie Panoy worked with Art Emerson to bring her to Boston.
What she does, this 12-foot tall, puppet, is really just asks us to step outside of ourselves and say, oh, this is a child. This is someone in need.
Amal was received with celebration. Ronnie hopes that the people she embodies are welcomed with open arms too.
That there is a community of folks, just like the crowds that are greeting little Amal, that say, hi, how can I help you to succeed better in school? How can I help you with your housing? So that when folks come here, they have a net.
Razia Jan was among the crowd that welcomed little Amal. She came to the U.S. from Afghanistan 40 years ago, and recently, when an Afghan family was displaced by conflict, she helped them resettle on the South Shore. Seeing Amal, she became overcome with gratitude.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. It just made it possible for her to have a voice of people that are without voice.
What an impact that puppet has made.
Yeah, definitely. Very cute. I like seeing little kids reacting with her, too.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back right after this.
The Watts in Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly.
Treating your diabetes takes a lot of effort. The MiniMed 780G is the only system with meal detection technology that automatically adjusts and corrects sugar levels to help prevent highs and lows 24/7.
Around the greater Omaha area, the people of Burton
Closed captioning is sponsored by Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Now we'll look at what's on NBC tonight.
At 7, 11 acts perform, and judging is turned over The Views on America's Got Talent. And at 9, Dateline NBC. Then join us for 6 News live at 10.
Then on The Tonight Show, Jimmy's guests include the Jonas Brothers. And on Late Night, Seth welcomes in Aubrey Plaza.
All right, the S&P 500 snapping a 3-day losing streak.
Yeah, with today's business news, here's CNBC.
This is CNBC News Now. I'm Pippa Stevens. Markets closing out the week with a mostly flat day. The Dow up 76 points, the S&P gained 6 points, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ added 13 points. Kroger says it will pay up to $1.2 billion to settle a majority of nationwide claims that the company fueled the opioid epidemic. They are being accused of lax oversight of pill sales through their pharmacies. Kroger is following Walgreens and CVS as the latest pharmacy chain to announce a settlement. The IRS announced today that it will pursue 1,600 millionaires and 75 large business partnerships that owe hundreds of millions of dollars in past due taxes. The IRS commissioner says the crackdown is possible because of a boost in federal funding and artificial intelligence research tools. That's today's CNBC News Now.
Okay, check this out. One Pennsylvania cat could have used up one or maybe several of its 9 lives.
Maybe all of them.
Yeah, maybe all of them, coming eye to eye with that bear. Wandering Bear, though, was no match for this 3-year-old cat named ER on this summer night in Bushkill, Pennsylvania.
And a confrontation there, as you see, all caught on Ring doorbell cam. The homeowner says bears are common in the area. Meetings like this, though, are not. Good thing for the bear, right?
I know. Seriously, that cat's pretty vicious. All right, well, that's 6 News Live at 4. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or WOWT.com.
6 News Live at 5 is coming up right now.
Tonight on 6 News Live at 5, the Nebraska Supreme Court decides if the sentence of a convicted serial killer should stand.
And we're getting ready for our next cool down. I'll let you know just how chilly it gets next week coming up.
Plus, the message behind a heartbreaking display looking to encourage more people to get help.
On your side, this is 6 News WOWT, live at 5.
We start tonight with a 6 on your side report. The teacher shortage is a national issue, a statewide issue as well, but some Nebraska lawmakers want to know why the lack of special education teachers has become a bigger issue in Omaha's most disadvantaged community. Our John Chapman listened in on a legislative briefing on why this is happening.
3 Omaha public schools are without special education teachers: Walnut Hill, Central Park, and Martin Luther King. All elementary schools, all in North Omaha.
Why are there 3 schools in North Omaha, our state's most under-resourced community, that don't have special education teachers this year? Was that a huge red flag for you? How did you walk through and talk through and think through the racial justice considerations with that?
OPS officials told lawmakers that special education teachers have a very difficult job. The district is doing all it can to recruit teachers, and the shortage of teachers in the North Omaha schools was out of their control.
The 3 schools with vacancies are all in North Omaha. The Omaha Public Schools didn't choose these schools. The schools with vacancies are a direct result of staff resignations. After exploring multiple options, we determined that the best way to serve those students was to move them to a school where we could provide the services they needed.
There was one parent who testified. Kelsey Escobar says she received last-minute notice that her special education student would have to transfer to another school in order to stay in special education classes.
So I actually ended up having to take time off of work because of this situation. Because obviously I can't leave my son at school and get neglected. Nobody else, I don't really have people to depend on that. People all have lives.
This particular situation where somebody calls up a family and says, if you want to stay, you have to waive your special ed or you can go to another building. I'm here here to tell you that families called us up and said, what's that mean? WAVE. What happens? And we have to tell them that means your child with ADHD, your child with autism, your child with anxiety, depression, PTSD, your child that is in a wheelchair is not going to get services. So I have to leave my home district just to get them?
This issue won't be solved in one meeting, but everyone agrees the goal is to get the best education for all OPS students, no matter what school they attend. On your side in Omaha, I'm John Chapman, 6 News.
Legislative members of the committee say the lack of teachers, especially special education teachers in OPS, will be a topic of discussion in the next session. Meanwhile, new development concerning a 17-year-old accused of murder. Juan Velasquez appeared in Douglas County Court today for the first time. He is charged as an adult. He allegedly killed a 43-year-old man, Juan Carlos Tobar Abarca, in the middle of the night a week ago Thursday. The victim's body was found on the ground in a parking lot near 120th and Arbor. Velasquez was denied bond. The Nebraska Supreme Court rejected an appeal from an Omaha serial killer requesting a new trial. Anthony Garcia was sentenced to death in 2018. The former doctor was convicted in 4 murders where he sought revenge after getting kicked out of a Creighton University program. The first murders were 11-year-old Thomas Hunter and Shirley Sherman in 2008. The second was Dr. Roger Brumbach and his wife Mary Brumbach in 2013. Garcia's appeal noted 130 alleged errors in his trial, including DNA evidence, ineffective counsel, and the constitutionality of the death penalty. The court's ruling today stated they could not determine if his counsel was ineffective, but they otherwise affirmed the convictions and sentences. The 2 men accused of a hate crime made their first court appearance in Douglas County today. Court records say the 2 engaged in a night of drinking and racial slurs at a local bar that ended with a black man being attacked in a field. 42-year-old Rhett Bellamy is now charged with second-degree false imprisonment. The charge has a hate crime notation attached. His bond is set at $25,000. Meantime, 38-year-old Holden Melia is charged with third-degree assault, terroristic threats, and second-degree false imprisonment. His charges also have hate crime notifications attached. Melia's bond is set at $75,000. Both men are scheduled to be back in court on October 6th. All right, we're set for a great evening of Friday night football, but tomorrow could cause some challenges for your outdoor plans. Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller joins us now with a first look at your 6 First Alert forecast. Hey, Em.
Hey, for now, enjoying plenty of sunshine. Beautiful night for anything you have going outside. Really nice evening to spend some time out on the patio. We're hanging out in the mid-80s. We have light winds. 84 currently in Omaha, 83 in Fremont, 84 around Council Bluffs. Winds right now for most under 10 miles per hour. No complaints. And air quality seeing some huge improvements compared to the past couple of days. Right now, sitting at moderate. So still a little haze in the air, but we are making some big strides clearing out that smoke. So no issues for your forecast tonight. If you're heading out for some Friday night football, high school football looking great, be in the 80s through 7 with a drop into the 70s by 8 o'clock. Now, looking ahead to the weekend, changes are on the way. If you're making outdoor plans, Saturday is going to cooperate the best, although we do have slight rain chances. Those increase on Sunday as some cooler air moves in. I'll time all of that out for you coming up in my full forecast. Jacqueline.
All right, Emily, sounds good. Thank you. A Georgia state judge released the special grand jury report that led to indictments against former President Trump and 18 others. The report details the investigation into Trump's actions after the 2020 election. The special grand jury recommended indictments against 39 people, 20 of which were not charged. It included former GOP senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler of Georgia and current Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Today, Graham said he was only doing his job when asking questions after the election. The Nebraska Medical Center is working to raise awareness about suicide prevention. Nearly 300 pairs of shoes, you can see these on your screen here, they're on display in front of the Healing Hand statue at Clarkson Tower. The shoes symbolize Nebraskans who died of suicide in 2021. Health experts say suicide is the second leading cause of death in Nebraska for people ages 10 through 34. Counselors say the first step to preventing suicide is to talk about mental health. A nurse who lost her sister a few years ago tells 6 News she now shares her story to help other families.
There is no picture of what someone who's depressed or suicidal looks like. She was happy and smiling in selfies and going to Starbucks and going on hikes and putting on a brave face at work, but inside she was in a lot of pain and didn't know where to turn.
After this display, the shoes will be donated to psychiatric emergency services for any patient who may need them. World Suicide Prevention Day is Sunday, kicking off Suicide Prevention Week. If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available. You can call or text 988 to speak with someone. We also have resources at WWT.com. A new Omaha exhibit is looking to break down barriers and differences.
We all have the exact same need, and it's a need to be seen, a need to be heard, a need to be loved.
Coming up, we'll hear from one person looking to end the stigma of how some people are being photographed. That's after the break.
And watch in Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley is so good, I drink it neatly.
Catch live local streaming TV, free at WOWT.com or on the WOWT app. Stream content from your favorite stations here and across the country. Plus, watch exclusive events and original programming all in one place from your favorite device. Keep up to date with what's happening in your community with news, weather, prep sports, and more.
In today's Living Right, here's what you should do to up your workout routine.
Search WOWT in your app store and download for free today.
We all want the very best for our kids. Their dreams, their health, their future. Nothing is more important. At Children's, we believe every child and family deserves the very best. The best outcomes and experiences, the safest, highest quality pediatric care, and the very best team. All together in an environment of excellence. That's the future of pediatric medicine. Children's Hospital and Medical Center. The very best for kids.
Welcome back. Celebrating the beauty of human diversity. That's the goal of a new photography exhibit at Creighton's Lead Art Gallery. New tonight, Laura Sample takes us behind the lens of the people featured in this gallery.
Heidi Summer of Omaha slowly looks through a Disney book with her 20-year-old son, Hayden. Hayden has Phelan-McDermid syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that causes medical, intellectual, and behavioral challenges. Though Summer says the syndrome is challenging, her son is a blessing.
I feel like he's taught us more about life than anything ever could.
Hayden is one of 17 Nebraskans featured in a photography exhibit at Creighton's Lead Art Gallery. The pictures were taken by Rick Guidotti, a photographer who started out in high-end fashion in New York City, Milan, and Paris.
But as an artist, I refuse to see beauty only on covers of magazines.
Over time, Guidotti developed an interest in people with medical conditions and began looking at medical textbooks.
And when I went to those medical textbooks, I found terrifying images. I found images of kids in doctors' offices, usually naked or in their underwear, with those black bars across their eyes. And that's how I committed initially that we were going to change that.
Eventually, Guidotti founded Positive Exposure, a nonprofit that promotes inclusivity through photography, film, and education.
What we're doing is we're creating opportunities to work with communities and individuals at risk of stigma and exclusion to celebrate the beauty and richness of human diversity.
Guidotti presents exhibits around the world focusing on people with different diseases and genetic disorders, sharing both his photographs and his philosophy.
Change how you see how you change. We all have the exact same need, and it's a need to be seen, a need to be heard, a need to be loved, and a need to belong.
On your side, Laura Sample, 6 News.
What a great story. Thanks, Laura. Now, the Positive Exposure exhibit will be on display at the Lead Art Gallery through October 6th. The manufacturer of a commonly used abortion pill has asked the Supreme Court to weigh in on limiting access to this drug. Back in April, a federal judge in Texas tried to invalidate the FDA's original approval of the widely used drug mifepristone. The Supreme Court agreed to put a stay in place, placing a hold on the order while the case works its way through the courts. If the Supreme Court decides not to take the case, the earlier ruling would then kick in. It would make getting the pill without an in-person doctor's visit a lot more difficult. Coming up, Omaha fire crews are looking to find what caused 2 house fires overnight, and the chance of a historic strike is on the horizon. Just how much an auto shutdown could impact the economy. Stick with us. We'll be back after this break.
And a wash in Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly.
And have, is that breakfast soda?
This is my breakfast!
So wait.
Welcome back. The Omaha Fire Department is investigating 2 overnight house fires. The first was at a vacant home near Nicholas and Northwest Radial just before 11 last night. Crews did extinguish the blaze, but the structure was ruled a complete loss, unfortunately. Now, a little more than an hour later, crews were then called to 30th and Franklin right here. OFD says no one was in the home when the flames broke out. The fire was quickly put out. Crews estimate it caused $10,000 in damage. The cause of both house fires is currently under investigation. We're less than 1 week out from a possible strike between the United Auto Workers Union and all three major U.S. automakers. A collective strike against the Big Three has never happened before. On the 6-week walk-off at General Motors in 2019, well, that was enough to put Michigan into a recession. If no deal is made, it would be the nation's largest labor strike in 25 years. The union is asking for a $40,000 pay raise, restoring cost of living increases, and restoring pension plans for all workers. UAW members say their demands are simply about survival.
We want to be able to eat, buy our products we build, put gas in our cars, heat them, buy clothes for our kids, and if we want, put our kids through college.
Today, Stellantis offered auto workers a wage increase of 14.5% over 4 years. It's the highest offer any of the car companies have made to the United Auto Workers so far. Additional proposals are expected over the weekend as manufacturers meet with the union. A manufacturer of sleep apnea machines has agreed to a $479 million settlement. Philips Reproconics is set to reimburse the cost of devices recalled in 2021. The ventilators were pulled from shelves after they were found to contain foam that can break down, possibly causing the user to inhale particles or chemicals. The FDA says it's received more than 100,000 complaints, including reports of at least 385 deaths. The settlement does not cover personal injury claims. A law firm estimates those claims could total more than $4 billion.
Now, 6 First Alert weather with Emily Roller.
Nothing but sunshine out there for your Friday evening plans. Beautiful night, but as we push into the weekend, I want to get you a first alert to increasing rain chances. Fairly low chances on Saturday, but Sunday you are more likely to see that chance for a few storms rolling through. That'll continue on to Monday as some cooler air dives in. This is where it's all coming in from. We have clear skies now, but this cold front off to our north, that's going to bring in some impacts over the next few days. You can see some moisture behind it. It kind of stalls out here tonight into the day tomorrow, so really doesn't make much progress getting into the start of the weekend. But ahead of it, we might squeeze out a few isolated showers, maybe a weak thunderstorm Saturday morning and again Saturday afternoon. Very hit or miss chances tomorrow, so rain likely not going to be a huge impact to your plans out there for Saturday. However, as we get into Sunday and this front starts to drop through, not only will you feel a drop in temperatures, it kind of slices the viewing area in half as we get into the second half of Sunday, but behind that front, we'll see an increase in moisture and a better chance for storms as we move through the afternoon on into the evening, and we could even see some rain lingering on into Monday morning. For some, this is going to be a nice soaking rain where those thunderstorms set up, and we really could use the moisture, but it is going to bring in some changes, and tomorrow is going to be one of our last days for a while where our high temperatures consistently climb into the 80s. A high of 85 tomorrow afternoon for the metro. A little warm around Lincoln and Beatrice. We're just shy of 90 with a high of 88. 86 in Harlan, 82 in Norfolk. And then check out that change on Sunday. This is all dependent on the speed of the front. We're likely still going to hold on to the low 80s around the metro, but just out to the northwest, a high of only 70 in Norfolk, 68 around York, and temperatures down to the southeast, a little warmer, a mix of the low to mid 80s where that front is last to slide through. Now Sunday is just the start of the cool down. This is where the bulk of that chilly air will be by Sunday afternoon. Still off to our north coming in out of Canada. That continues to drop in as we move through next week. High temperatures will fall into the 70s, overnight lows into the 50s. This is going to be sticking around for a while, and for some, could even see a few mornings where we start off in the 40s, and we are expecting to see that around the metro as we get into next week. So you can see that slide in temperatures by Monday. A high of 77. Tuesday and Wednesday are our coolest days, 73. And by Wednesday morning, that's a chilly start, an overnight low of 48. From here, highs will start to climb. We're still in the 70s through Friday, back into the 80s by next weekend with a beautiful forecast for that first Husker home game. You can stay on top of the forecast by downloading our 6 First Alert weather app. You can find that free in the App Store. Some big changes on the way in. I love fall weather, so this little preview that we're getting next week, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I am too. Sweater weather is almost here. Gotta love it. All right. Thank you, Emily. Well, it's a major week for rivalries in college football and the Huskers. We have an update on them, too, coming up. That's next in sports.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Godfather's Pizza.
And watching Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly. And watching Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly.
Now, 6 News Sports.
This is a treat. Only the second week of the college football season, and the Huskers are less than 24 hours away from their 72nd all-time meeting with rival Colorado. Momentum looks to be on the side of the 22nd ranked Buffs, who are coming off a statement win at 17th ranked TCU, while the Huskers are rebounding from a fourth quarter loss to Minnesota. Bouncing back, going to be a little easier for the Huskers thanks to their grittiness.
There's so many guys here that are true Cornhusker men that want this program to be great, and they're just built on grittiness. We're not a super flashy organization. We're kind of a gritty, we want to be a gritty, tough. That's our identity, gritty, tough, organization.
Building on grit has been working for the Detroit Lions. We'll see if it gets the dub for the Huskers. Clayton Collier will have more from Boulder later tonight. Another early season rivalry happening tomorrow, Iowa and Iowa State battling in Ames in the 70th Cyhawk game. In the last decade, the Hawkeyes have dominated this in-state battle, winning 8 of the last 10 matchups. However, the Cyclones went into Iowa City last year and downed Iowa 10-7.
Some of the uniqueness that happens, like I said, one of the unique things is this game is so early in the season. I think both teams are still developing their identity and kind of growing into who they're going to become in the football season.
Just like in high school, the team, that team next door, you don't want to lose those guys. You just don't. And I'm sure they feel the same way. And Bear Bryant used to say it. He talked about guys having to go home and they go to the pharmacy and they got to answer why they lost to Auburn.
Cyhawk game kicks off tomorrow at 2:30 on Fox. Speaking of some high school rivalries that Kirk Ferentz was just talking about, defending Class A state champs Westside are on the road tonight, taking on 2-1 Bellevue West. This may be a really good preview of the Class A state final for this year. Highlights coming up at 10 tonight on a Friday Night Fever show.
Yeah, exciting stuff here. Football is back.
A lot of football. A lot of good football.
Yeah, I gotta love it. And great weather out there for fans.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice night to be outdoors. And as we push into the weekend, some changes are on the way. Saturday, really isolated rain potential in the morning and in the evening ahead of the arrival of our next cold front. And that'll be moving through on Sunday, sparking a better chance for showers and storms Sunday afternoon on through early Monday morning. The cool down will be here by the start of the work week. Some of us already feeling it on Sunday with a drop into the 70s to the northwest of the metro. 70s here to stay through Friday.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I've been waiting for this moment, Emily. Thank you.
Yeah, feeling like fall.
Yeah, finally. All right, ladies, thank you. And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 6:30.
Watch in Moscow always get the mule. Vodka this good is an American jewel. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly.
Happy birthday to us. That's right, we're turning 50, and we're celebrating with my new birthday cake streusel. Paired with my classic combo and a one-topping pizza, it's my happy birthday feast, Godfather's Pizza. Do it.